Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Short little bonus video here for you because there's a couple of bits of information in the Raid Digest this week. So Plarium's sort of official kind of post the community a little blog about what's going on. Couple of bits in here that are super important and could really affect some of the teams that you're building. First of all, this one I think is a fairly minor thing, but it is good to know, both in terms of what it's confirming and what it implies for the future. As they say here, there will be no events or tournaments for Awakening-related activities, Iron Twins Fortress, Summoning Souls, Awakening Champions, etc., in the nearest future. This means to complete at least the next several fusions, you can safely focus on well-known activities. Of course, the implication for this means that probably next year, I'd imagine maybe in January or something like that, which seems like a fairly good cutting point for them to change things. Likely from around about then on, maybe later than that, we'll see that Awakening is going to start to play a role in completing fusions and all the rest. Now, again, in my opinion, this is really fairly expected, fairly straightforward that they would start to include new content as being a feature in this sort of stuff, because it is kind of weird at the moment that all this Awakening stuff is in the game, but there is really no tie-in whatsoever. I'd expect it also probably to tie into CVC in the future, much like nearly everything else does, all that sort of stuff. Also, on top of this, there will be no 2x or 10x summon boost events for Summoning Souls, at least for the immediate future. So again, the implication for this, for me, this is exactly what I was predicting, which is that I really do expect this to almost certainly happen at some point in the future. I do think that the chances for getting the souls to Awaken Champions are actually fairly low. I think definitely we're expecting to get, soul stones and stuff like that from possibly is more and more from rewards from tournaments and events. We have seen that recently. Obviously they're selling them in the shop, of course, no real surprise there. Higher Hydra difficulties are probably going to be dropping more sources of these as well, but it's still going to be pretty difficult to get these souls. So I do expect, again, I have said this and I think this is very much true, that basically any sort of summoning event, be it 2x, 10x, even guaranteed events, even, pull one perfect soul, get a second perfect soul for free. I think anything like that is possible to come, but it's not going to happen in the near future. Again, I do think that's quite far off in the future. I think if I was Plarium, it's the sort of thing where I would let people probably play around with Awakening for, if I was Plarium, at least 6 months before considering adding in 2x or 10x. And if it was me, again, 10x events are worse, so I'd probably prioritize putting in 10x events first and then maybe consider 2x maybe a year on. If I was a sneaky game designer, that's what I would do, so bear that in mind. Also, good clarification here, which is cool, that you do not need accuracy to place blessings, that blessings will be placed regardless of accuracy. This also means that they should never be resisted either. So much like gear sets, it just happens. There's no resisting, there's no accuracy required. Blessings just do their thing. And also they do mention that block active and block passive skills, those debuffs don't affect blessings at all. You'll still get both the active and passive benefits of blessings, even if you're debuffed with those debuffs. So blessings are sort of just their entire separate thing. So that's the first part, which is somewhat straightforward. Now, where it gets a bit sketchier, this might, I think, offend some folks here. If we come in and we've got this, this next section on changes and fixes, we have some spicy changes here. If we zoom it in, here we go, we move down, and if we move across, there we go, slightly too zoomed in. All right, there we go. Live content, it's the thing. We keep tweaking the Iron Twins boss to deliver a challenging and meaningful gameplay experience in that dungeon. The boss will be able to ignore unkillable buffs with some of its skills, so that one champion unkillable based teams stop being an all-around universal solution. This is a massive deal. Basically what this is about, if I leave this arena match here, is doing some arena stuff, Paragon teams are not going to work. And in fact, Man-Eater teams are also not going to work either. So if you guys don't know, Paragon Cheese, he's basically a rare, and the deal with him is he puts Unkillable on a target for 2 turns. This has a 2-turn cooldown, so you can use him to cheese quite a few bosses. You can just solo quite a few bosses because he's unkillable. Any boss that cannot hit through Unkillable basically can't kill him, essentially. So you can solo them very, very slowly, like Nether Spider, Scarab, campaign bosses, that sort of stuff. That is going to be removed for Iron Twins, which is pretty big. Man-Eater teams as well are going to be extremely affected by this. Again, yeah, but basically that's how it works. I mean, with Man-Eater teams, you're typically going to be at 1 HP with Unkillable, so you are just going to die. Now, what they don't say is anything about block damage, so I do suspect that block damage teams might continue to work. So in that case, we're looking at champions like Roshkar the Tower, gives you block damage for 2 turns. We are looking at, maybe more relevant to most players, whoever did the fusion, Helicath, of course, coming in. He gives you block damage for 2 turns. They do not say anything here about ignoring block damage, so it seems like block damage teams are still going to work, and you can build Unkillable style teams with block damage, and that should be fine. So yeah, that's basically how it works. I actually think this is kind of unfortunate. I think this kind of sucks. I get that they clearly want it. In fact, they're saying it specifically, the one champion Unkillable. They're clearly trying to specifically stop Paragon. But Raid really do not like to nerf anyone, ever. It's extremely rare that they ever nerf a champion. And Paragon has obviously been unnerfed in the game for forever. And people would be upset because it would ruin a bunch of other teams if they nerfed him specifically. So yeah, I guess it's one of those things to sort of pick your poison. Either they would nerf Paragon to stop him being able to do this on Iron Twins, but it would break a whole bunch of other teams potentially, or yeah, they have to nerf Unkillable, which has the unfortunate impact of nerfing all of the Unkillable champions, which sucks, because I do think that if you build like a Man-Eater based team for this boss, I actually think that's a pretty cool thing to do. I think I watched a Deadwood Jedi video on it. It's not easy. It's extremely difficult to build a Man-Eater team for this boss, and I think it's a pretty fair way to beat it, but unfortunately, no longer going to be the case. So yeah, if you were building up a Man-Eater based team or a Paragon based team for Iron Twins, it is not going to work. They could change this at any time. This could happen at any time. So really be careful. This is going to be going, okay? Yeah, there you go. Also that they fixed some bugs, which is fairly straightforward. This is actually a pretty important one. A lot of people are being badly affected by this, where if you lost in a faction crypt, you could lose faction war keys. So that should hopefully be fixed. And yeah, I think there's just some other bugs there. Nothing too important. And I think that's pretty much it. The final thing that we have is that in fact, let me just drag this over. The final thing that's important, I think, in this news post is that the upcoming Clan v Clan tournament will not have personal rewards be part of it. So there you go, guys. That is the news, the main parts. Again, I think the big things here, the really big thing is really watch out for this change. No more Unkillable for Iron Twins Fortress, so don't get caught out. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, guys. I do have, by the way, a team, and I think there's going to be plenty of nice variants to that team that is able to fairly successfully. It's fairly intensive in terms of gear, to be fair. Like, you need quite a bit of resistance and accuracy, but by using increased accuracy, decreased accuracy, those buffs and debuffs, you can make the Iron Twins much more doable. Yeah, I've got a whole video on that, so you can go check it out if you want. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.